the Horseshoe Lights copper gold mine sits very close to our land holding up there, and we think we're chasing a copycat of that on one of our project areas called Windalar, where we've got drill rigs at the moment. So yeah, look, run a small team here. We've got about 3 geologists on staff. A couple of other guys consult to us. So I've got about 5 in a technical team plus field crew. So we're a small but very well-credentialed team, and we've got a lot of good targets to be going and testing in the next few months.
Absolutely. Can you just for the Bryah, the project itself, you have 2, but the Bryah project firstly, can we maybe just cover it a little bit from a high level, and then also can we just go into some of the upcoming catalysts, because there definitely are a lot of them.
Sure. Okay. So the Bryah Basin is probably a bit of a quiet, unknown area up until 2009, when a company called Samphire Resources made a discovery at a place they called DeGrussa. That's about 70 k's to the east of where our main activities are. So DeGrussa, high grade. It's probably, I'd have to have a look at the latest records, but I think they've almost produced close to 1 million tonnes of coppers come out of DeGrussa so far. High grade, 5% average grade. They've got a satellite mine at Monty. So they're on the far eastern limb of the Bryah Basin. Horseshoe Lights is sort of in the northwest area, and we've got ground all around Horseshoe Lights. So we're basically chasing a lookalike of the DeGrussa or Horseshoe Lights copper gold. They're volcanogenic massive sulfide deposits. So these things are generally, 3 to 5%. Both Horseshoe Lights and DeGrussa had direct shipping ore, which average grade was over 20%. But, looking at some of the historical drilling at Horseshoe Lights, they were getting 1 metre intervals of up to 50% 50% copper, which was almost pure chalcocite. So these deposits are very high grade when you get onto them. They occur in clusters, and generally there's a bit of gold around them. Horseshoe Lights and DeGrussa were both gold plays or gold mines before they actually found the high grade copper. So at our main project area at Windalar, we've been drilling and intersecting some gold numbers with some of the drilling in the past year or so. And so where we think that's a good indicator that we could be distal to something which is, the sort of the sweet spot of the high grade copper. And that's probably going to be sitting at a bit more depth. We've got, we did a first phase program of RC drilling, which we're waiting on the results from the labs to come back on. We've got plans to go back there probably with a diamond rig in the next phase, because we want to put some tails onto some of the holes we've drilled. We've got a geophysics program going up there at the moment as well to guide us. So yeah, look, it's looking very promising. Some of the consulting geologists who've worked on this project, they've basically, excuse me, been very impressed with the geology that they're seeing on the ground. All the sorts of things that get geologists excited. We've got sort of at Windalar. So and it's got all the pathfinder minerals that would be indicative of a VMS system. Things like antimony, arsenic, selenium, they're all sort of off the dials, very comparable to Horseshoe Lights as far as a soil sampling program is concerned. And that's what led us to find this target. And we're pursuing it with vigor at the moment.
Absolutely. And as you alluded to, you already have assay results pending, so they should be coming out in the next several weeks. But also, can you just go over maybe like the next 6 months there? What are the catalysts? Because there sure are a lot of them.
Yep. Okay. So as you said, in June we'll have the results of the first phase drilling out and our interpretation from that. That will guide our next phase of drilling. We've got down at Gabonintha, we've been sampling some of the old vanadium drilling results, drilling samples for gold. So we've got 1,400 samples which are going through the labs at the moment, and we're expecting to start to see The rest of those results will be out probably in about 2 weeks. That's the immediate activities that are happening at the moment. We've got the geophysical survey, which will be completed by the end of the month at Windalar. So that's 2 lines of dipole IP. And then on the manganese JV we've got with OM Holdings, we've got a big geophysical survey happening at the moment. So that's going to hopefully identify a few new targets for the manganese drilling. Into July, we'll get all the results of an air core program we've got running at the moment. There's 4,000 metres plus being drilled at Windalar and also at a target called Mount Labashire, where we've got some copper and nickel numbers. We'll also, in July, be putting out a maiden JORC resource on the manganese projects. That's Brumby Creek, Horseshoe South, and a place called Black Hill. And then through to August, I'll just check my list here. We'll be back. So yeah, we'll be back drilling in July, August on the manganese. Got a big program of follow-up drilling there, which will be basically governed by the IP survey that's on now. We'll have drilled probably the second phase of drilling at Windalar. And at this stage, it's going to be, I think it'll be diamond. We're just making a call on that at the moment. So hopefully we'll get that started in July and have results in August. Then we'll start more drilling down at Gabonintha. We've got those gold results, which we're looking at the moment, 1,400 of those. They will help to point us in the right, confirm for us that there's gold at this cross fault within the vanadium deposit. So we're looking at putting either an air core rig or a small RC program in onto that. Probably only 1,000 metres, but that's, it could be 1,000 metres of very well spent drilling. So we'll start to see those results come through. And then, phase 3 RC drilling at Windalar will follow later in the year. We've got another air core program, Windalar, and a place called Kinders, which is west of Fortnum Gold Mine. That'll be drilled in September, October as well. So yeah, I could keep going, but that gives you a bit of a sense of there's a lot on at the moment as far as plans are concerned for drilling.
Yeah, investors will all be tested on everything that Neil just said.
Neil, so back in March, there was a day that your share price traded about 70 million shares over one day.
Yes.
The share price pretty much hasn't come back down to the levels, which is pretty good. So what happened on that one day?
So that was the announcement we had 10 metres at 27.5 grams per tonne gold intersected. And this was one of the Australian Vanadium holes which we assayed for gold. So when they were drilling their resource, they've just assayed it for the suite of vanadium minerals, and they never assayed for gold. So we sampled one hole which looked interesting, and it hit a fault zone. And yeah, 1 metre was at 182 grams, and it was 10 metres at 27.5. So that's at 50 metres, 53 metres depth down hole. So the market really liked that. Yeah, as you say, I think we actually had more than 70 million when you take in the Chi-X numbers as well. But whichever way, it was a record day for turnover shares on issue for us. And it just goes to show how the market can respond to some good news from what we're doing. So hopefully we'll get some encouraging follow-up numbers out of these 1,400 samples which are in the labs at the moment.
I mean, a lot of our investors know that that's what we're looking for as an exit. I mean, it won't be, even if it's not 70 million traded, but that's usually the way we exit, is when there's a great discovery or something and the share price goes up in great volume. That's the sort of companies that we're always looking for. Can you just go over the relationship with Australian Vanadium?
Sure.
I know that they're a shareholder, but are they involved in all your projects or just a few?
So they're not involved at all in the Bryah Basin activities. We share offices with them. They own 7% of us at the moment. And part of the technical team here, because we share offices, half of the technical staff are mine and half are on their payroll, but they switch between the two as required. And on the Gabonintha project, so they've got the mineral rights to vanadium, iron, manganese, cobalt, and we've got the rights to the gold and the base metals and a bunch of other stuff. So and when we sort of bought the mineral rights off them, it was really focusing on some of the other structures outside of that vanadium ore zone. We were looking at a place called Tumblegum South, where we've got a resource of 600,000 tonnes at 2.2 for about 42,000 ounces, and we're looking to monetize that. There's a conditional sale with a company called Star Minerals on at the moment. But yeah, so the gold sort of nickel copper relationship in that vanadium deposit's really just come out of their feasibility study work, and they've sort of gone, oh, hey, by the way, there's, we're getting 2% nickel, 2% copper, and 2% cobalt in some of these sulfide tailings that they've got from their vanadium process. So look, the relationship has been pretty good. We've actually been able to get, all the sampling. Their drilling for gold is great because we're not paying for the drilling; we're just paying for the assays on that. So that's a bonus. And the the next phase for us is to do a little bit more metallurgical test work. There's a budget in this allocation of funds to go and do some more sulfide tests, because the previous tests were done at a different grind size. So we'll do some tests at sort of 75 micron, which is their flow sheet now. See if we can improve the recoveries of those sort of copper and nickel numbers, and also get a better handle on the gold, because they really didn't assay or look too hard for the gold, but they did get it in a couple of tests they did for it. So yeah, it's a great opportunity for us, and it's the Vanadium Project's got a 25+ year mine life. So if they get up and running, which they're at a BFS at the moment, so they should have that completed back end of this year. Yeah, it could be a nice little earner, and it gives us optionality about how to monetize that going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And turning to the raise today, obviously the cash that you bring in. I guess a couple of questions. Number one, I think that we've already answered, is that the money almost exclusively is going into the ground, which as shareholders we love. Yep. Secondly, just about how long does that carry you forth?
Yeah, look, I'm working on the basis that most of the funds will be put into the ground for drilling by Christmas this year.
Okay.
The technical staff costs I've sort of run through to March next year, because obviously once we've done all this work, we need to digest it and come up with plans, which we generally do sort of January, February, March, when it's not conducive to being out there in the heat drilling. So basically, from a expenditure point of view, the programs are going to be funded this year with contingency in there to do other things. We've put in $500,000 as working cap / exploration contingencies. So yeah, the aim is to not sit around and use it on admin costs.
Absolutely. And there's also significant, existing shareholders that are going to be supportive. And I think that management also, correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, that you guys you all put your money where your mouth is, and you certainly have a significant vested interest as well.
Yes. Look, I mean, management owns 10% of the company at the moment. We've participated in earlier raisings. Depending on how we close out the book and the shareholders meeting, we'll need to approve the allocation of the options, listed options. We may participate in the get shareholder approval to participate, and overall, the existing shareholders, some of the top 10 I've been in touch with this morning, and they're taking some serious licks. So yeah, it's very encouraging to see the company being so well supported in this raising.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to open up the floor to questions. If you've got a question, unmute yourself. Otherwise, just write in the chat any questions you got. So we've got a question here. It's from Zoom to everyone. So whoever's using their name, well done. How confident is Neil that shareholders will approve the options in this raise?
Absolutely confident. And what we'll do is we will refresh our capacity at that meeting as well. If knowing the top 20, which owns over 46% of the company, I think at the moment, so well, there won't be any issues with that getting approved. If for some reason there was, then the company could still then, because we've refreshed our capacity, we could then issue them after the meeting. So that they will be issued.
Okay.
Right. I mean, it is. It's a common question that we get when there are options in a raise, and we've never seen it not approved.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it would be a terrible look for the company, and for its ability to raise cash going forward. So
Yeah.
I don't think this will be. So we've got another question. Neil, are you saying management?
Oh gosh.
Guys, can you just unmute yourself and ask the questions here? Because we've got a few.
The question, I can see one there from Len about the general meeting or the AGM. So the AGM is in November, December, like last year, but the meeting to approve the options issued, which I think is the real question, will be called as soon as possible after we've completed the raising. So what are we, June? But in July, we'll have a shareholders meeting to approve the issue of the options.
Great. There's another question here from Mark. Mark, if you can just unmute yourself. And...
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, no worries, guys. I just didn't quite understand Neil's response. He just mentioned that he supported the company in previous raises, but I wasn't quite sure whether he was saying that management was going to come into this one or not. But obviously, if they do, they'll need approval at a special meeting or an AGM. Understood that part of his answer, but I'm just wondering, is he saying management is specifically coming into this raise, and have they determined the amount of quantum that they're coming in? Or was he just saying that if he gets a shortfall in the raise, management will come in and top it up to the maximum they're looking to raise? Is that what I just didn't understand his answer? That's all.
Yeah, and sorry, Mark, if I was a bit vague. I've spoken to the other directors and said, asked them what their appetite is, and really the feedback's just been at this stage, well, let's see how this book build goes, and then we'll go from there. But look, personally, we know that the book's been well supported, so it's just going to be a decision about amongst the board whether we, as a group, I think it's either as a group we would all participate, or we just not on this occasion and carry on. And you know, we bought on market last year. All of us went on market and bought a tranche. So at the right time, we can go on market if we don't go down that sort of path.
Got it.
Yeah, so the book is really well covered, so there won't be a shortfall. It's just a matter of how much extra the company will take in tranche 2. Has Australian Vanadium given you a amount that they'll be taking?
Look, they've just indicated they won't participate in taking anything. I think they're probably not in a position where, you know, their allocation of funds is towards that BFS, so they're pretty tight on, you know, putting in $250,000 or something to maintain their equity position. And I think, you know, that might be, you know, probably send a wrong signal for their shareholders if that money's been raised for a BFS and you know, they go and put it into Bryah. So I never really expected them to participate, but we've obviously offered it to them, and I think the board's declined.
Gotcha. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions at this
Can
point?
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but your screen is frozen. Oh, that's a little bit better. Okay, I don't have any more questions at this point, but as always, if you think of a question or you want to, just either, email it into us or just give us a call or something, and we'll be sure to, to relay it over to Neil.
Are there any existing top 20 shareholders taking in this raise?
Yes. I actually had top 20 contacting me before I even could get an email out to them this morning. There's I can't give you the exact number, but yeah, it's being well supported, and there's a couple of guys we're still waiting to hear back from. So yeah, existing shareholders are being given a priority, obviously, to in the allocation when we sit down and do that. Yeah, no one's rung me up and said.
We can confirm to everyone that there are quite a few that have come in the book last night and this morning, so there will be quite a few. Thanks, guys. Send us an email or give us a call if you've got any other questions. We will be closing the book pretty shortly.
Bye.
See you guys.
Thanks, John. Thanks.